Okay. 1 second. Make sure this is... Okay, we are good to go. Previously, in the GodBreaking, here in the land of the Feywild, our party finds themselves in a world that's similar to the mortal plane, but off, different enough. There's plants, there's trees, there's animals, there's creatures, but things are different. Everything is a bit more primal, a bit more emotional. The You guys found yourself confronted by a conundrum. The um, the ancient greater god Corlin Lorethian, weakened as he is, you know him as Malchior from an era gone by, had entrenched himself in the ground of the Feywild and had begun to spread. And you guys knew immediately that it was a rapidly growing threat. Given enough time, he could have grown to threaten this entire plane and build his own power back up to terrible levels. So you guys acted quickly through a combination of spells, quick thinking, and awakened powers. You managed to contain him and open a portal to Lunaria, where the Maw of the Void had been growing in power and size. And you wrenched Corlin the Rethian in his tree form from the ground and threw him into the Maw. With that threat done with, you guys were offered respite and hospitality in the land of Ilyanbruin, where the Fey Elves kept their called home. There, Queen Talazay invited you to her palace and gave you lodgings. You guys rested for a while, and then after a time, actually, did I give you a rest? I don't remember if I gave you guys a rest, did I?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Nope, nope, nope.
Okay. Let's say you guys were able to rest. So you guys were on a timer. 3 days until the armies of... It was originally 3 days. 3 days until the armies of the gods enter into Nirvana. And with Bane on a rampage in Nirvana as he is, you're not sure you want that to be the case. You spent a lot of time in Nirvana, and then you came here. Okay. After this long rest, so you guys have a long rest that you take in the Feywild, you have 2 days left. A little under 2 days left. Okay? Alright. So after your respite, a messenger comes and tells you that the queen has summoned you. Did you not hear what I said? The queen will see you now.
Oh,
Veldorn,
Yes.
you know what her summons means. Come, quickly.
we were just wondering where Demos went. I mean, did you end up sleeping with him?
That one? Never, not if you paid me.
Right. I
Not even out of
totally
pity.
believe you. It
I
just
had not
leaves missing.
seen the thick-headed one. I had not seen the thick-headed one. But the queen has required your presence.
Let's go. Let's go. Lead the way.
Drusilla turns, and you can tell she's a her the aura around her was what had begun to burn red, but now that you acquiesce, it calms down and it turns more into a mellow purple as she turns and she walks down the hallway at a pretty quick saunter. You guys get up and you follow behind her. The pathways in this a feller's seen it before. You've walked these hallways many a time, but they don't go straight, and the turns don't come at right angles and stuff. It's like they're made to flow along with the grains of the tree that they're carved into, that they're grown into this massive tree that you're inside. So they're more like tunnels and pathways that they sort of meander and turn, a little bit of spiraling as you move higher and higher into the treescape. Before long, you enter the grand vestibule where um, hundreds and hundreds of fae are of all shapes and sizes are attending. There's music playing, there is dancing, there's wine, it's a true scene of jovialence and even some what do you call it, abandon, reckless abandon, and during this gathering of the Fae. You see satyrs, you see minotaurs, you see all kinds of pixies and plant-based creatures, sprites and little wormlings, and they're attending court at the very end of the vestibule. This grand hallway is Queen Talize, sitting on an elevated throne, with fairies attending her. As you enter, she raises her hand, and the music stops. There's a shimmer of light coming in through the vines and the leaves, the branches kind of, as the wind blows through them, the light seems to shake and change shapes through the room. And she calls out, she says, "Silence, everyone. Our honored guests are here. Traveled long they have from the mortal world, tromped through the realm of the gods, for they have the divine scent all over them. And now they find themselves here, in my court. Come, travelers, come attend me."
Is she beckoning towards certain seats?
She wants you to stand in front of her kind of her throne. And down there,
Oh, okay.
there's not much seats, um, but there are, you're familiar with this, Renly. There are like cushions on the ground, and people who are, so she sits, several, like a good 10 feet higher than you, but sitting on the ground, you can you can look up and talk to her. It's close enough that you guys can hear each other talking.
Alrighty. We'll come forward with a little wave and then sit on a cushion in front of her.
Okay. The rumors and the murmuring throughout the crowd are, as you're walking down, you can hear creatures talking. Um, there are voices that they know your name, Renly. They point out Renly, Renly. It's been a long
It's
time
not my
since you've
favorite
been here.
place. This is not my favorite place.
This was not your favorite place. You've been here before, but this was not where you spent most of your time, right? But you were known well enough. You guys enter in. You see Drusilla standing, one of Talazay's wild hearts, standing behind her throne. Looking around the room, you don't see the others. Remember, the wild hearts are the guardians of her realm. But Drusilla is the one in attendance today. You guys sit on the cushions in front of her, and Talazay looks at you, Renly, and says, "Well, have you gotten acquainted with your old friend?" And she glances at Feldorn.
Yeah. My friends, not so much. I've known them before.
She looks at you, Renly, and she says, "You know, he's mine now.
Uh-huh.
Sworn to me in the deepest way."
We could tell.
She nods. She says,
So awkward.
"Anyway." She looks at you. She's eyeing you, Renly, kind of like a cat would eye its prey. She says, "Now, that ruckus that you caused aside, that with that dark tree and that horrible power that I felt surging from it,
That was
that
just
aside,
Malchior.
yes, yes." She nods, feigning like she knows what you're talking about. "Is that all the reason you came to my land? Or is there something else you wish?"
Oh, we told Feldorn. I thought you may have caught up through him. I look towards Feldorn.
It's not how it works.
I thought you was aware of everything we told you.
Why you throw everyone under the bus?
I don't know, because like we asked him things and then he couldn't talk about it. I assumed she knew.
She glances at you, Feldorn. She says, "Feldorn, darling, something to tell me?"
Beldorn tells her everything that they asked him.
You see her pause for a little bit, and she begins to chuckle. She says,
And as he's telling her everything, he's giving Renly the biggest stink eye he's ever given anybody in his life.
I just shrug. I thought they were like, uh, on the same wavelength.
An even bigger stink eye.
At least now I know how it works.
she says,
I whisper
"Renly,
to Feldorn, wait until she cock blocks you for the first time.
Renly, you misunderstand Feldorn and my relationship. Anything we share is purely just physical. He just pleasures me whenever I require it, and then goes off and does my bidding. We do not share thoughts."
I see. I'm thinking about the questions that Feldon couldn't answer, and I'm just wondering how to broach that.
She
So
says,
she knows now.
"Nah."
Might as well just tell her.
Okay.
Yeah, I look towards the group, and then look towards her, and then look back at the group, and I'm like, what were the questions
No,
we were trying to
this
ask?
is you. You kind of messed this up. You gotta fix it. I go and I sit down in the back.
You've contributed nothing.
No, this
I
time
fixed
Renly.
every
This
single
time
one
Renly.
of our problems. It's your
Yeah.
turn.
It's time you fix whatever your messes.
I asked her the questions we asked Feldorn about places that might have the truth.
You mean
Okay.
counter truths?
Yeah, the weaknesses to the truths, the alternate, uh, the antithesis of the truths, I guess.
Contradictions.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, you see her pondering these questions. She says, "None here are wise enough to know of what you speak. But, Renly, you should know this. If you seek deep and ancient knowledge, 'tis best to ask one who was there at the beginning. Seek out the oldest being here, in this world, or any world."
Do I know who she's referring to? Is it the old Fae or the Tempers? Or the Yggdrasil?
She says, "Renly, the tree. The tree that was there part of the birth of creation. If any knows the ancient knowledge, surely Yggdrasil would." So Renly, you spent um, a lot of your time in the Feywild was around the study of and the cultivation of Yggdrasil, and really more like its saplings and its outgrowths. Um,
Yeah, I think I spent
Yggdrasil,
most of my time with the Drake Blooms, right? Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I was wondering, like, if maybe she knew the actual, like, area where, like, maybe with the Olfie or the Tempers or the Esther Sisters, if there was something actually there. But I'm like, okay, fine, she knows.
She says, "I am but a youngling compared to the Fae, so there's little I can share with you as far as the ancient truths go. But," she says, "to travel to Yggdrasil, you know, is a long and arduous journey. There will be dangers, and there will be, she says, challenges.
I
And
don't
wouldn't it be
remember.
nice to have..." What?
Oh no, when she mentions dangers and all, I mentioned, like, I don't actually remember much of that journey. It just felt like a very long party with a lot of stuff happening midway. Um, yeah.
She smiles. She says, "Well, then, wouldn't it be nice to have someone who is more current on the state of the Fae traveling with you?"
We look towards Feldorn.
Oh no, you've already thrown me under the bus once.
No,
Thanks.
I'm wondering if you're the one who she's talking about.
She nods and she smiles. "Yes, your old friend Feldorn would be the most excellent guide and companion, wouldn't you, Feldorn?"
Yeah, as long as she doesn't throw me under the bus again, or do this thing that Elwyn says she might do.
What thing?
Oh, you know what thing? Don't pretend like you don't know.
I don't know.
I go sit down next to Elwyn and say nothing else.
I still actually don't believe that she doesn't have a connection to Feldorn with the way she's pushing him. But I'm not saying anything.
She smiles. She says, "Well, if you wish Feldorn to accompany you, Renly, I ask but a small price."
I wait.
She says, she says, "The world tree, Yggdrasil, has been rumored to have grown a blossom." Now, Renly, you know that that's a significant event. something that only happens once every
Yeah, I'm figuring.
100,000 years,
Hmm.
right? She says, "All I ask, in order for Feldorn to have my leave, is that when you visit the tree, you return to me with a petal from its blossom. A small request, don't you think?"
It would if I had any control over the tree. I mean, that's not something in my power to agree to. I could talk to the Drake Blooms and ask, but I can't make any promises about that.
Renly, Renly, you sell yourself short. She looks at you and she says, "We all feel your power. You know none here can contest you." She says, "You and your friends, you," she says, "you have sway here. You have grown far beyond what you were before. I have faith in you and your ability to retrieve this small thing from the world tree for me. A simple promise on your part, and Feldorn is yours."
I know my power and my worth, and I know I could potentially get it, but without their leave and without Yggdrasil, you know, providing that, I'm not going to go step over that line. So I can promise to talk to them and do my best to get a flower with their permission, like with their leave, but I'm not going to take it with force otherwise.
She says, "Oh, I would never ask you to harm the world tree or its curators. But you have certain powers of persuasion." She says, "Beg, plead, argue, persuade, seduce, whatever's required. Would you do that?"
I would beg, plead, and persuade, yes.
She smiles. She looks at you,
With
Feldor,
no
and she says,
promise to achieve.
she looks at you,
What?
Feldor, and she says, "Feldor, it seems your friends," she says, "might be wavering in their commitment to you. What do you say to that?"
And just lets out a deep sigh and goes like, "Guess they don't want our help."
She says, "Well then, Renly and esteemed guests," she says, "I have no power, and neither would I desire to, force you to stay here. So you may come and go as you wish. Feldorn, however, is mine."
I raise an eyebrow that I'm like, I've been to Yggdrasil before. It may take longer, but we will get there.
"Oh, I'm sure
But
you will."
if you do not want me bargaining with the World Tree or the Drigblooms, that's fine with me. I nod
She's,
towards her.
she says, "You know my price." She says, just
And you know mine.
unless you pay it, Feldorn will not be coming with you."
I roll my eyes.
Okay, anything else?
Well,
Nope, that's it.
let me just. I'm gonna
Oh,
speak
you
up.
wanted to sit out in this. You wanted to sit out in this.
Oh yeah, because you're doing such a wonderful job.
I know. I'm like, no, wait, it's not. I'm not giving her a
I
bloom
just
or
I
a
just
petal.
speak up and say, so let me get this straight. In order for Feldorn to lead us to where we want to go, we have to get something that you want from where we want to go. But Lord Feldorn can't lead us there unless we get you that thing where we want to go.
She smiles and she says, "Now you're thinking like a fae."
Well, phase don't make sense then.
She says, "If we're at an impasse, then perhaps an alternative?"
This isn't an impasse. This is madness. This is impossible. It's like you wanting me to get you a fish, but refuse to tell me where the pond is.
I love fish. She says, "And this is why, Elwyn, the answers to your riddles can only be found here in the Fae. Logic is far, far subservient to emotion here." She says, "If I feel it, and I want it, then that is what's true, here in the Feywild."
Is that the same for everyone?
She says, "To a certain extent, yes. Others more than most."
Great. Felder, do you want to come with us? Is that what you want?
Yes.
Then let's go.
She says, "Feldorn."
I look at Ellen and I go, you know that's not how it works.
Wait, I thought
Feldorn.
she said that's exactly how this works.
She says, "What I want is how it works."
He just nods. Like,
She says, "Feldorn, here is my command of you. You will travel with your companions to Yggdrasil, and your friends will ask their questions, and as the tree answers, they will also request a petal from the world tree's blossom. If they cannot retrieve it, or if they do not ask it, if for any reason at all it seems like they will not acquire it, then you, my Feldorn, will be bound by this command. You will retrieve me a petal, even if it means you dying in order to attain it."
Eldorn does the only thing he can do and nods.
"Well, I think our business here is done. Will you stay for our feast? We slew a great beast just yesterday, and I believe its entrails are still cooking, and she'll be ready soon."
If Feldorn's coming with us, then we're gonna use all the time we can to get to the tree as fast as possible. But enjoy a feast.
Renly, oh how I've missed you. If you ever care to, come spend some time with me here in the Fae.
I'm just like not bowing and backing away.
Like, man, Renly, I didn't know
Before
you
we
got
leave-
around that bad.
Before we leave, I want to add something. Let's say we do acquire the petal. that you seek.
Mm-hmm.
If we get that, then you will let your hold over Feldorn leave permanently.
You mean release him to you permanently?
If you guys can hear me, I will be right back. Something's up and I can't hear any sound from my mic.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
She
release
says.
him.
She says,
Not to me, just release him.
Elwyn, bring me a petal from that tree, and Feldorn is all yours.
Okay.
Midas.
Yep.
So give them. Hold on. That I have a plus 47 in history and religion. Could I roll one or the other to see if I know anything about the significance of the petals from that tree?
Um, roll it. There's not much knowledge to be had. You haven't spent any time in the Feywild, but roll it. Let's see what you get. So, um, the tree blooms so sparsely, so infrequently that and um there are whole waves of written history that rise and fall in the gaps between its bloomings. So there are no records that exist in any of the lands that you've traveled um, pertaining to the bloom of the world tree, and nothing in hell would have
Okay.
keyed into it.
I was just hoping maybe to glean some reason why she knows it.
No, I mean you can make assumptions. Renly, you might know a little bit more. You might be able to figure out a little bit more because you spent more time with the Drake blooms.
What would I roll religion again?
Roll a history.
History,
Yeah, you got no shit.
Oh,
They-
I'm like, I
In
was
fact-
very high
Yes,
on mushrooms.
last time.
In fact, the Drig Blooms decidedly never spoke of it. When as you're walking away, Renly, you're like the thought in your head is like, I didn't even know the World Tree had blooms, you know? Yeah, like the whole conversation was completely news to you.
Yeah. I'm like, blooms? That must be a very rare, like once in a million lottery kind of thing. And I'm like, no, I'm not promising any shit. Nope.
Yeah, the last time that happened, our species was probably still 100,000 years away from existing.
Yeah. I'm like, no, that's way too. Yeah, I would never. So yeah.
Okay.
Once we leave the main palace, I'm going to actually use a spark to cast a telepathic bond, including everyone but Feldorn. And since Feldorn's not here, that's great because I'm gonna just pass along to Elwyn and Adis that once we get to that world tree, we are going to need to break that connection some way somehow from Talisi and Feldorn. We have to break it.
You slowed it when you wanted. I could have done it yesterday.
No. We need Feldorn to get us to the tree. And we're
Okay.
still too close to Talisi's territory, so we need to get away. And then once we're closer, yeah, we need to shut that down ASAP.
All right. You guys are ready to embark on your travels.
Hey, Rinley. I need you to tell me everything you know about Fey contracts.
Oh, they're not worth the verbal words on the paper they are printed on.
I'm talking about the magic part of it.
I'm back. Sorry, something weird happened to my PC and my Explorer crashed. My Windows
Oh,
Explorer crashed.
no worries.
Fey magic on contracts, would that be like an arcana or history? What would that be like based on my experience?
Um, yeah, go
Survival?
history. So the Fae don't really have contracts, right? They have mutually beneficial arrangements, or they have debts, right? Arrangements can come and go. Like for example, in the Fae, there's no such thing as marriage because there's nothing as a marriage would be way too much of a commitment. You know, it's a very impulsive, emotional kind of land. So there's flings, there's just a commitment is lasts only as long as one of the parties feels like it's worth it. Debts, however, debts are absolutely binding, and here in the Fae, they are especially if it has to do with one's life. Um, having a life saved is a life owed, and the owner of that debt can call the debt anytime, and basically it's like if she calls Feldorn's debt and he actually does owe her his life debt, then she just simply can call it and he's actually dead. She takes his life away.
Hmm.
It's like a Wookiee
That
thing.
simplifies things.
But who decides once the debt is paid, or is it forever?
There's lots of different kinds of debts, but the deepest one is a life debt.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So typically,
So,
Renly, you know this, a life debt is for life.
Yeah, but I'm feeling like there were probably historical incidences or stories about deaths with life deaths, particularly because they're so absolute, where people manage to finesse or find some ways to bargain their way around the issue.
well,
Oh,
it's easy to get out of a life debt. All he needs to do is die.
I know, I know.
so if for in your travels, Renly, you spent most of your time with the Drigblooms, a little bit with the Fey Elves, um, mostly with the Drigblooms. You even had less interactions with the other ones, the Yester sisters and
Hmm.
um, the definitely not the old Fey.
Oh yeah, I
The
I
temp
bet.
the tempers are like forces of nature here. They don't they roam the lands, right? These big clouds of emotion. They don't really talk to people, at least not much, right?
And I figured like the Olfay would be Televe times like 1,000, so I would not have gone to them.
Much more moody and petulant.
Yeah, yeah.
Talazay's quite young compared.
Yeah. And I'm like, if I have issues with Talisi, I'm like, I don't want to go to the whole thing, but I probably will have
Yeah,
to at some point. But yeah.
yeah. But in order to gather stories or knowledge on how to break a life debt, you would have to talk to some of these other denizens, because in your travels you haven't come across any stories like that.
Alrighty. Alright.
Worming your way out of it. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, ways
But
to trick your way out of a life debt.
would Renly know that it's that if he dies, that would get him out of it?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a Midas game, and I don't want to be risking anything on,
Oh,
oh,
I've got it
we'll kill
covered.
him and then bring him
I've got it
back.
covered. I've got it covered. Don't worry.
I'll fight you tooth and nail if you try to kill me.
Exactly. Um, I do ask Feldorn since
It's not really killing so much as body transference.
Feldorn
What'd you say,
again.
Renly?
I do ask Feldorn, like, on the way to the Drake Blooms, are any of the other denizens, within a stone's throw, like, the Esther sisters or the Old Fae?
Feldon, you know that in order to get there, you'll have to skirt across the borders of the old Fae. And you originally planned to give it a wide berth, but you could dip in closer if you want to.
Do the Ulfe have like actual territories, or is it more like a wildscape, no man's land kind of thing?
It's more like that. It's more like it's they are natural like forests. One is a forest. One of the Fae, one of the old Fae owns is like Lord of the Marsh, and as the marsh grows or shrinks and stuff, that's his territory.
Now, my final question would sort of be like, okay, these Ulfe, do they have denizens in their territories, and are they usually like neutral or willing to talk to people who visit, or is it sort of like intruders?
Kill them
They
all.
um they the denizens of each realm um they take they lean towards the attitude, the characteristics, the personality of the old Fae that rules it.
Hmm.
So
Okay,
we're a bunch of young whippersnappers.
so I will ask Feldorn, the the territory that we would be skirting around for the Old Fae, whose domain would that be? Is it marshland or grassland? Like,
Does
So
Felder know the
Feldern,
answer to that?
yeah. It's the marshland. It belongs to
Can he say it without?
yeah yeah.
Yeah, Feldorn looks at her. It's like he looks at Renly. He's like, yeah, it's the marshland, and it belongs to Caliban the Mad. Don't think we want to go there.
mad as an MAD? Okay.
As in crazy or angry?
As in a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. You can't be crazy without being angry. As he looks at Renly for throwing him under the bus the last time.
You do not even know what a bus is.
I
I've
should.
been in the Feywild for quite a while. I should know what a bus is.
They
A
don't have
Fey
they don't
bust.
have buses here.
But we have pay-per-view.
No.
It's a Fey bus.
At HBO Max.
Oh jeez.
It's a
Okay.
bus.
Okay, so Feldon, just let us know when we're close to the area. Maybe we can just talk to some people on the outskirts, like the borderland areas. I'm sure that like there are, considering that we don't have a clear delineation. Usually, there might be people on the outskirts of borderlands
Okay,
who might
so
know a thing or two.
you know how the queen knew that you were here and talking to me.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just let that sink in for a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't think we care.
So it wouldn't necessarily be within the marshland. It might be on the outskirts, like that border area, right?
I don't think anybody that old would leave the marshlands.
I'm not talking about the old thing. I'm talking about the denizens who live in the borderlands between the realms.
Yeah, but I don't think they're gonna know the answers you're looking for.
It doesn't hurt to ask about folktales.
Those are not the Fae you're looking for.
That's
No,
okay.
we, we
I don't
can
mind
we
asking.
can see we can see who you encounter along the way.
Yeah, I don't mind asking. Like, it doesn't hurt to ask. The same my mother says in
Oh
real
no.
life.
You sure in the Fae it doesn't hurt to ask?
Yeah, yeah. It's gotten to way more orgies than anything else, really.
Foldor is kind of curious as to see where this is going to end up. He's just going to let it happen and see
Badly as usual.
and see what happens in the end.
This is what usually happens. So yeah, this is great.
Okay. So,
Sometimes I think
you
they would have
guys-
a way to try to get us killed.
But what a way to go!
You guys head out, and you're walking across, a wide variety of scenery. As I said before, it looks like that there are brief connections to the mortal realm, the material plane, but it's related, but definitely not the same. Everything is slightly different. Everything is of permutation, a variation of something that you've seen in the mortal realm. Moving on in as you go.
Oh, I will create an airboat
Mhm.
to kind of speed up the way, and also in case anyone wants to cast spells or rituals, they can while we're on the move. So I'm just doing that.
How fast does your airboat move?
Not that fast, just 100 feet. Yeah, the speed is 100 feet. So yeah.
Okay. So, but you guys can all move together, and it keeps you from having to walk the entire way.
Exactly.
All right. So you cast an airboat, and you guys kind of power along. And as you're going, as you're departing, Feldorn, one of there's a little puff of what do you call it? Sparkles, and you see one of your friends, the other Wild Hearts, just appear in the airboat right next to you, and he says, "Off on your great quest, Feldorn, as I've heard." He says, "Lucky fucker, you get to be without the Queen for a bit. I envy you."
Yeah, but I might lose my life thanks to somebody.
Oh, you were gonna lose your life in any case.
He says, "Oh," he says, "Oh, I know. We all heard. In fact, the others and I, we have a pool going on to see what actually happens."
Ooh, can I get in on that?
he says, "My money, and I would be very, very sad if it happened, of course. But my money is on that the Queen pulls your heart out and serves it up on her table to her guests. I would mourn, of course. I would shed a tear. But I would also be quite a bit wealthier than I am now."
I don't believe you would actually shed a tear.
He smiles. He says, "Well, Feldorn," he says, "for your travels," he says, "my best wishes. And if you need me, of course, you know how to reach me. I am but a moment away." He flips you a coin, right? He flips it through the air. It's just an iron coin, right? He says, "For your troubles, call on me." And he vanishes.
That's totally tracking us.
I put the coin in my pocket.
Okay. All right. All right. You guys are heading off, and as you're making your way through the Feywild, you're noticing that, like I said, there's arrays of colors. There's trees that grow in weird patterns. There's insects that are like bits of different kinds of insects pasted together. But all along the way, you just see colors and bursts of light. It's very very bright, very lots of pastels, lots of neon colors. And as you're going through, little bits of blue light will pass through like one of you. So Elwin, you're walking, and a blue light just bursts up from the ground, and it catches you just a little bit, passes through you, and as it does, you just feel you're your mind just kind of wanders and you feel just a little somber, a little melancholy, right? A little down.
Is it a
Um,
mind altering effect?
it's just like and then later on, you guys pass through an area of like orange light, and you all in that moment you just think happier thoughts, and suddenly the world doesn't seem so grim. They're not so much mind altering effects, Adis. They're more like overflows of emotion.
I see the trails of the tempers are here. Um, also,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and
blue,
everywhere.
red.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
They
We're
the
really not.
there's wisps of these things everywhere, but when a temper passes through, it is it's a surge. It's a tornado of emotion. These are just little gusts and breezes. Okay. You guys continue on your way, and um, you find your way going through a large forest, and here the trees are very thick, and they're not there's no sparseness. They're grown almost limb to limb, almost trunk to trunk, and it makes making your way through um, seem almost predetermined. I mean, like there's not many options. There's certain openings that you can go through, and certain pathways and trails you can follow. But to variate off of one of these trails is quite difficult because the trees are growing so densely as this foliage gets thicker and thicker. You approach and you hear a rumble ahead of you, almost like an earth tremoring rumble ahead of you.
I call out in Earth speech hello with my elemental senses.
Um, so wait, what does that do again? Elemental senses, earth speech,
Oh, yeah, you can speak to like elementals and things in their language using the elements. So,
no response.
all right. I'm looking at Feldorn. Do you know of something in the area that's of high priority?
Feldorn.
Eldorn lets Renly know that he goes, yeah, Gobbler the troll is wandering around here.
Is he friendly?
Probably not.
Okay. Do you recommend a detour? Like, or if the
Uh,
foliage is too dense, isn't it?
yeah, we have no choice. We have to go through here.
Okay.
Any opposition to flying?
We are flying on the airboat. Like,
Oh, that's right. We're on your airport.
As Adis asks that question, Feldorn gestures with arms wide open at the flying boat they're on.
Sorry, I was taking a nap.
As you guys are talking, you hear crunching, like crunching and slurping ahead of you.
We got somebody.
All right, you, you turn the corner, and there you see a very large creature,
anyone speak giant?
very
Yep.
large troll.
Oh, but
That's a full cow.
he looks so friendly.
I know, except the cow wouldn't think so.
No, but I do speak something.
Right, that's why you do this.
Oh, what do you speak? Giant?
I'll cast comprehend languages on Renly so she can speak to it.
I have that too, but it doesn't that you speak back. Like you would need tongues.
Okay, I'll cast tongues on you.
Oh, you have tongues?
I can cast any spell.
How did you break the game so bad, minded? I'm like any spell out of any class.
he can
Yeah,
Okay.
cast. He's casting wish.
yeah. I can cast any spell out of any class.
Okay, yeah,
So can
tongues.
so can Ellen.
Okay, so as you approach,
What? Yeah.
you hear this large deep voice going blah 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 blah.
Hello?
Don't screw up this time, Ellen. No,
Is
Renly,
someone
sorry.
casting a spell to understand what he's saying?
Yeah, I cast tongues on Ellen so she. God, why am I saying someone from my game? On Renly.
I'm
So she
going
can talk to her.
hello in giant to the troll.
He says to you. He says to you. Are you food, or are you? And he picks some like a cow leg out of his teeth from between his teeth and like spits it on the ground. He says, or are you here to play?
Pray or play?
Play game.
What would we like to do? What games do you like to play?
You play game good. Ha 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 ha.
No, what game do you like to play? What type of game?
Questions. I ask questions. You give answer. You right. You go through. You wrong. I eat.
Okay, but
This
you need to write
this
down the answer somewhere so then show it if you're wrong. He spits out some more cow fur. He says, "This cow not good at game." Ha 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 ha. Can only end badly, but sure, okay. How many questions?
He holds up 3 fingers and says, 4.
So if we get 2 right and 2 wrong,
I eat 2.
oh, so 1 question per person. Okay, fine. Okay, shoot. But you can only eat us after we've all answered the questions.
He scratches his head a bit. But I hungry now.
How about I give you a bunch of cows and we skip the questions and go on our way?
That's one I eat now?
Yes.
He po- All right.
Eldor covers his mouth after he says yes. One of those
Who
like impulse
plays
moves.
Who plays first?
I will polymorph the tree in his hand into a cow.
He looks at it and he chuckles. He says, Gobbler already ate cow. He sniffs at you guys. You smell spicy though. Gobbler feels like spice food.
Answer the man's
Who
question,
plays
David.
first?
Can
Need
we
a
all
separate view.
understand him, or
I can cast comprehend language on this so that we can all understand, depending on the talk back.
And
Yeah,
Renly
no
has her
problem.
has a don't you have telepathy going on, Renly?
Oh yeah.
Not with Peldon, but everyone else, yes.
I'll cast comprehend eventually. Unless he can do it himself.
Yeah, because Feldorn only understands Abyssal, Common, Draconic, and Elvish.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you
I
guys
understand. I can talk to you in 4 languages.
between the telepathy and the comprehend languages, you guys all understand what he's saying now.
Bless you.
So, who wants to go first?
How big is he? I mean, like, is he like to scale to that cow? So to
Edith is
scale
Yeah.
going
to like,
first.
Yes. Yes, he is.
okay.
I point towards Edith. He's going
Why am I?
first.
Why am I going first?
Because if it goes badly, you'll probably do something to him to get us away.
I mean, I could get us away now if you
No,
want.
it's cool. Let's hear this question.
What's your question? Well, you have to ask it. I can't talk to him.
Yeah, I'm totally pointing towards Edith and being like, yeah, he'll go first. What's the question?
Gobbler sets down the carcass of the cow, and he pulls a tree out of the ground. And he uses it as a toothpick, and he says,
Good, good. Hear a question. Hear it. It is the beginning of eternity, the end of time and space, the beginning of the end, and the end of every space. What is it?
He,
I
"Is that your
translate
answer?"
for him.
yeah.
He he sets he takes the twig, the tree out of his hand, and he snaps it, and he says,
No, no fun.
Polymorph both halves into. He wanted something spicy. What's spicy?
Bison?
A bison on for one, and a salamander, like the elemental, in the other.
It's point buck.
he looks at the two in his hands, and he says to them, he says,
Oh, you answer me. Here question. What is in my belly?
then he holds the two up to his ear, and he says,
Wrong. You find out now.
and he shoves them both in his mouth.
My God.
He's gonna have some
Oh.
spicy bison.
Who play next?
I'll raise my hand.
Oh ho ho, little Renly. You I've heard of. Many stories. Many things I heard you do. Ho 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 ho.
That's great.
Feldorn is like extremely astonished at how much Renly has gotten around in the Third Isle.
Hear your question. Hear it. I am what men love more than life, fear more than death, or mortal strife. What dead men have, and rich require, I am what contented men desire. What is it?
Telepathically, I'm going, guys.
Nothing.
That's the answer. Nothing.
Nothing.
I say nothing. As in, I say the answer is nothing.
Fuck me.
He, And he's
Elvin
sad.
goes next.
I'll turn another tree into what someone said a 6-point buck.
Um, a six-pointed buck, you said?
Yeah.
You see him hold the buck, and he whispers to him, and he holds the buck up to his ear, and he shakes his head, um, and then he bites the buck in half, and he grabs it by the antlers, and he uses just puts the whole buck in his mouth and just pulls the antlers out, so all that's left is the skull and
Oh my
and like
god.
the bones, and he tosses the bones and the antlers aside.
Bayless, can you stop doing that? I say to tell
Who
that to him.
next?
Elwin's next.
Just cover their ass in case you guys fuck up.
Okay, you red one, you next?
Hit me.
Mhm.
Two men drink tea with ice. Their poison is one man drinks fast and lives, the other man drinks slow and dies. How is this?
The ice was poisoned. The guy that drank slow died because it gave the ice enough time to melt, and the guy that drank it fast didn't.
I translate.
You cheaters! How you know my question?
It's easy.
Because they're very good.
You see him and be sad, and he's like, there's a tear in his eyes, and he rubs it away. He says,
No one wants Gobbler have fun. No one.
So I keep
Oh,
giving you food. I turn another tree into woolly mammoth.
do you want to play? We'll ask a question.
You have a question for Gobbler?
Yeah.
If Gobbler's wrong, you eat Gobbler?
Yes.
No. Well, we'll eat part of you. Do you want to be eaten?
Yes, Renly will
Gobbler,
definitely eat part of you. And Feldorn winks.
Gobbler would not mind.
We'll look into that later. Okay, the question is, how do you fulfill a life debt without dying?
he looks at you. He scrunches his face up, and he scratches his head. He says,
Eat the one who owns the debt. I win.
You are right. Yeah. Okay, wait, this is really difficult. Okay, fine.
Just gave me a great idea, though.
Oh god.
Feldon's left.
No, think about this, Renly. If he has a life debt to her, here's a way you could get out of it. By him saving her life.
And us trying to threaten her.
Well, not necessarily us, but if he were to save her life, she would owe him an equivalent debt. And in theory, maybe they would cancel each other out.
True that. Feldorn, you want to answer the last question?
They would have contradictory authority over each other.
No, not really.
Then you want to be food?
It would be a
Not
wait,
really.
Rinley, what was that bond? What was the truth about bonds?
The learning of through. Wait, you mean the bond? The binding of things can break bonds
Yeah.
that it interacts with. The bonds of gravity, the bonds of molecules, even the emotional bonds between friends. So I guess
Yeah.
life debt would be that.
Yeah. What if two people owed each other a life debt?
Even one we liked it, I guess we'll have to find out. Okay,
Because it would be a bond that's a contradiction. Just throwing that out
we are definitely going to look into that. And in the meantime, if Feldor doesn't want to answer the last question, we are
Eldorn's
going
worry.
to.
still waiting for the question.
there. Don't
Oh,
worry,
okay.
Eldar, we won't let him eat you.
A last question, please.
Okay, ready?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Last question. Last game. I turn around once. What is out will not get in. I turn around again. What is in will not get out. What am I?
Hold on, can you repeat that one? I was dozing off.
I put it in chat.
A key.
Oh, I put it in chat.
That was funny. It's like Goblin's like, I put it in chat.
What'd you say?
Is a key.
Gobbler looks at you and says,
Oh, Gobbler was fucked today. Oh.
Wait,
he kind of like leans over
Gobbler.
and yeah.
Before you lean over and get fucked today, can I ask you a riddle? And if you get it wrong, you have to tell us whatever we want to know.
More game? Okay.
Okay. All right. Are you ready?
Gobbler is ready.
A girl has as many brothers as sisters, but each brother has only half as many brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in the family?
He looks at his fingers. He starts counting. You see fingers going up, and he looks over at his toes, and he starts wiggling his toes. And he says, he holds up 2 fingers, and he says,
3.
Three what?
3 brothers.
And how many sisters?
he starts scratching his head.
None. Because I ate my sister.
Oh!
Oh.
And he starts crying.
All right. No, I don't know why we're here. I'm literally like super falling asleep. So I'll let Ranley ask whatever we want to know.
Yeah, I'm doing like other things to keep myself from falling asleep. I've been up since 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh man.
But I'm
Okay.
good. Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
good. I'm
gosh,
good.
people.
You guys are crazy. All right.
Yeah. Okay,
So
so
Renly,
we're just gonna ask him about any tales regarding like debts or bargains and stuff, and if there were any ways people got out of them, like any folk tales or tales about that.
so he was serious when he gave you his answer.
Eating them.
Eating the life owner. Well, as much of an answer as he can give.
Getting
Yeah,
rid
well,
of the life owner.
It was troll code
what
for
I
kill the
asked was
elected.
how many brothers and sisters are there in the family?
Yeah, and he said that he had 3 brothers and 0 sisters because he ate his sister.
Yeah.
That was his answer.
What? Okay, yeah. I mean, I did ask how many
Touche.
there are. So, wow, great job, Gobbler. shit.
Gobbler, do
Okay.
you like being a troll?
Gobbler likes eating whatever Gobbler likes. And as a troll, most things are smaller than Gobbler, so I get to eat them.
Fair enough.
Okay. So
Gobbler, where do you get your news from? Like all the rumors you heard about me? Where did you hear them from? Do you have friends who tells you stuff?
Mostly people screaming them before I eat them.
Okay, that's great to know. Okay, we will see you then. Bye. And then we're floating away.
you see him turn and he kind of like rolls off to the side, so that there's enough gap between him and the trees for you guys to get through.
All right.
I'll probably mark a few more trees into woolly mammoths, elephants, bisons, and shit.
Okay. All right. So you guys pass on, and continue on your way through the Feywild.
Chimichangas.
What's up?
Deimos has them all in his bag.
Yeah.
I've actually
Should
read
I-
a couple of the
Um,
resurrection ones.
I almost forgot about the chef in the castle. That all he did was cook chimichangas.
Yep.
It turned into a worldwide business.
Oh yeah. You remember that? You were around for that, Feldorn?
No,
When-
no, I wasn't.
Okay.
You were there for the chimichangas, not the.
Yeah, I was there for us getting the guy that made chimichangas. I think that was part of my idea
Yeah.
for the castle, and then and then things happened, and I guess
Oh, no. Yeah, the world was advanced many years, and he became this chimichanga tycoon, who was a big businessman and who hired their alternate characters but never really paid them. So it was
Lost home. Yeah.
yeah, he lost his home because you guys like dropped something on it or something. I forget what it was. Okay. You guys continue on, and you're moving through the Feywild, and now you're through the forest, right? And as you're traveling through this kind of like grassland, Feldorn, you look over and you see that the marshes in front of you. You see the marshes have expanded. This whole area was not marsh last time you were here, and actually fairly recently. But now the marsh has grown and it's beginning to cover a large portion of this grassland. You realize that the borders of Halaban the Mad have extended, and now they're really it's going to be a quite hard to not go through part of it.
What's outside the marshland? Like, what's bordering it on the other side?
On the other side is it's a wilderness, and Feldorn, you know that it belongs to another old Fey. Hold on, I'm writing it.
Yep.
Mm. Okay.
Holy shit! I don't know
Darn.
what happened, dude. Like all of a sudden, I just started like dozing off.
Feldorn passes that information on.
Do you guys want to call it here and come back next week?
Sounds good. I think that yeah, all the drinks and all the caffeine has finally worn off now that it's really late.
Yeah, we can. That's fine. That's fine.
I'm so sorry, dude. You know that I'm usually not one to pussy out, but I'm like legit, like almost hitting my head on the keyboard.
It's fine, man. It's late. And if we pick up here next week, we'll have Deimos back.
Exactly. Just
Maybe.
all the shit to go wrong.
Al-
Yay!
Well, allegedly have Deimos back.
Allegedly, yeah.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
peace out, and we'll pick up next week.
Okay. I'll be
Okay.
here next week.
Cool. Monday. We'll plan for Monday next
Yeah.
week.
Yep.
Good night, guys. Have a good one.
Night
Good
night.
day. Thanks for running, Midas.
Yep.